to the Boys Gurus Boys Report. So we are now looking at the skill position, guys, aka the wide receiver position. And so this could have been a rather large need if the Jets pulled the trigger and offered Austin an offer he couldn't refuse. But it doesn't look like that's happening, and that's good for us because we've worked on him for quite a while, and Jerry is very, very high on him, as well as Hurd. Austin, I think, definitely deserves more high marks than Hurd. So that's where we are receiving wise. So right now we got Crayton and Williams, and Williams essentially is our first round draft pick. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, we have an extra third, so he's our first round pick this year. Is he going to be better than the Crabtrees and the Macklins and the Percy Harvins that are coming out? Probably. He's done it already, so I think that's a plus. Crayton, he's solid. He's done well as a number 2. 2 years ago when he was the number 2 and Terry Glenn got hurt, he had a fabulous year. He had about, I think, 7-8 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards. I think it was between 800 and 900 yards 2 seasons ago. Last season wasn't so hot. He does open his mouth a little bit too much for my liking, but you know, it's a wide receiver position. What do you expect? All of them open their mouths probably a little bit too much, actually. So we have 4 with Hurd, Austin, Crayton, and Williams. After that, most teams carry 5 receivers, and some even carry 6. So after that, we are very, very iffy, and Stanback to me is a bust. You know, we're looking into the Wildcat. He would be really, really good for that. So he may stick around just in that role alone. I'm not sold on this guy at all. And then we have Travis Wilson. We picked up as, you know, they're just fodder. They're not going to do anything. So with that being said, we have been looking at a lot of wide receivers, and they tend to range anywhere from our 51st pick value-wise all the way up until, you know, the 7th round. We're going to draft at least one guy, possibly 2, and the guys that I see us nailing are Patrick Turner is almost a sure thing to me. I'm thinking he's going to go in the 4th, but he seems to be picking up a little bit of steam. He ran a really terrible 40, or at least he was timed as such, and then I think he bumped it up to 4.68 at his pro day. He's starting to climb a little bit, and so, but the receiver position being so deep is going to push him back down, which is good for us. It sounds like he's a guy that Garrett likes, and we like big receivers. It's just look at all the guys on the team right now. They're all big, with the exception of Amendola. That was a guy I forgot to mention who could come on a little bit next season with a year in the practice squad. So keep an eye on him as we go into training camp. So who we've been looking at? For the early rounds, we've been looking at Turner. I think he's 4th round material. Massaquoi, who I think it's looking like he's projecting down to lower 2. 51 to me is probably lower 2 or early 3. And so, and I believe our 3rd is fairly early, but I'm not quite sure there. I should be sure, but I'm not. And then Brandon Tate is a guy who was very, very highly thought of, and then he blew out his ACL very early in the season, and he has since climbed draft boards rather dramatically. Size, speed, the whole package, returnability. He's got it all. And I thought for sure that he was going to be a guy we'd look at very strongly if we lost Austin and picked up a 2nd round pick. But being that that's not the case, I don't see us throwing a 51st pick on a receiver. I don't see us throwing the 3rd round pick on a receiver as well. But do keep in mind with Massaquoi and Turner, especially Massaquoi, there's a little nugget here, is that it's all about information gathering, all right? And who is Garrett's best friend in the whole wide world? Well, it's Troy Aikman. Well, who is Troy Aikman very, very, very close with? He happens to be very close with Stafford. Him and Stafford, he's very friendly with that Stafford family down in Dallas because he's from Dallas. And so Massaquoi, being Stafford's favorite receiver, can certainly vouch for him. And so keep that, just everything's information based, just like in real life when you get in a job. Everyone wants to know, it's who you know, who your contacts are. And so there is a connection with the organization. You always want to look for those little things. So Massaquoi is a name to keep an eye on. He's tested really well. He ran really good routes while Stafford was doing his pro day. So keep an eye on that guy. I think he's the one that may be our shocker. We've always drafted Georgia, some well and some not so well. So keep an eye on that. And also we've been looking, so in the later rounds, we've been looking at Dexton Fields, a lot of Big 12 guys, Dexton Fields, Patrick Williams. Now this guy is extremely intriguing. This guy had 30-inch vertical, 4.4 40, 6'2", 204, and then he had an 11-foot broad jump, which is, I think, he wasn't even invited to the combine. He would have had the third best if he was there. Casey Fitzgerald and Thomas White are guys we've looked at. We have a lot of 7th round picks. We may blow a 7th rounder on them just to make sure we secure them. Thomas White is from Baylor. No numbers on him, no highlights, no nothing. That's one of those connection issues, being that Wade Phillips' son was an offensive coach at Baylor. So he is pretty intimate with this Thomas White guy. He's kind of big, 6'2", I think 204 as well. And then Casey Fitzgerald, which is, he led the Division I in catches. He's very, he's Wes Welker, basically. So he's a Wes Welker prospect. Everyone's looking for that next Wes Welker guys, Is he that guy? He went from walk-on to putting up those numbers. You never know. But I don't. Those are the guys. I think Fields is more of a downfield guy. Williams is just really, really intriguing from a measurable standpoint. And it seems like the Cowboys in the late rounds tend to draft those really fast guys or the big guys, like your Allen Balls, your Courtney Browns, those guys at the cornerback position. And then from the wide receiver, even Stanback, he had incredible numbers and measurables. So keep that in mind. If we haven't drafted a receiver down in the draft, or that's where we may snag one. This guy who's not a receiver, I don't have much time left. My favorite guy, I'm going to be going over him a little bit more in depth in the next episode or so, is James Casey. That guy, look at his videos on my page. That guy is the truth. I want him on Dallas. He's projected as a tight end, but he's kind of one of those tweener types. Very athletic. He could be the slot monster for us. Wildcat. I mean, the whole shebang. This guy is just sick. Peace. We'll see you next time. I'm going to do another video very shortly here that you'll be seeing.